Welcome to This Is Kingdom.
This is Grace. This is Talon. And this is TJ. The unity. Did you feel the unity? Tell them what talk, Grace. Tell them what talk.
We are studying the talk What Matters Most by Elder Ballard.
We love that, man. It just gives wisdom. And I'm excited, y'all, because I have been just like chewing on this talk so much. And I just got thinking about this like part of me, like just part of like who I am. And it's just like this desire to be like great at like something. You know what I mean? And I feel like actually like most people have that in them. Like, I want to be great at something, you know? And I just remember being a little kid and like, I did a lot of different things. Like I played football, I played baseball, I played basketball. I played the piano. Did you know that? I played the piano.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I went to school. There was like so many different things that I'm like, but
I went to school.
Hey, but
like it's his hobby.
Like you had a choice?
Yeah. That was giving like mega mind.
Listen though, okay, you can choose like, do I want to be great at school? That's where I was going with it. Do I want to be great at piano or the sport? Like you really decide like, what do I want to like dedicate myself to and like become great at? And I actually don't feel like that goes away. Like I feel like even now it's like, there's so many different jobs you could do or so many different majors or like there's so many different directions you go with your life. And I think sometimes it's like, man, like I want to be great at something. And it's like, I don't know what to be great at, you know? And you're like, one time I had like a magic trick phase. I was like, I'm going to be great at magic tricks. Did y'all know that? It was fun. I got some.
You went to school, you was doing magic.
But I just feel like there's so many things that we could like give our time to. There's so many good things that we could give our time to. But I'll tell you one of my biggest fears. One of my biggest fears is spending so much time getting great at something that maybe actually doesn't matter that much. And I actually worry about that like a lot.
You realized the magic wasn't going to go anywhere.
Listen, it could have. Okay, I can impress any 5-year-old with my magic. I'm going to show TJ. TJ's going to love it.
Like you're a 5-year-old.
That's not what I meant. That is not what I meant. I just
like
feel like
magic.
TJ appreciates the little things in life. Okay, Grace would make fun of me. Okay, it's true, and we're gonna try later. Anyways, there's so many things you can be great at, and as I was like thinking about this talk, and like worrying, like because I worry so much. I'm like, am I spending my time like doing the right things, like getting good at the right things? Like, am I progressing in the right things? And after I read this talk, it got so simple for me. Like the thing that I most want to be great at is relationships. I'm like, if I could like get really, 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 really good at one thing, I think it would be that. And that's what President Ballard says, right? He's like, the most important thing is like our relationship with God, with Christ, with our family, with neighbors, right? And I'm just like, man, I cannot think of a better thing to dedicate yourself to than like truly becoming an expert. Like truly becoming so good at creating deep, meaningful relationships.
Okay, so I heard something the other day. This is gonna seem unapplicable, but
good. We love the start.
I heard something the other day, and the person, I think it was a different podcast. I don't remember who it was or anything about it. But what happened on the podcast is the guy was like, "Listen, if I offered you $1 million." But said you had to die tomorrow, would you take it?
Nope.
Yeah, right? And then he's like, okay.
He's like, what? I got 24 hours, man. Let's get it.
And then he like went deeper and he was like, okay, what if I offered you $50 million, but you had to die tomorrow?
Oh, you have to die.
Yeah. Like,
I thought you were dying either way.
No.
Right.
Like you have to die. If you take the money, you have to die. Then he's like, okay, $50 million, but you die tomorrow. Are you going to take it? It's the same answer or no? Yeah, right?
No
like
way.
you're like, no
No
way.
way.
And then he's like, you just told me that tomorrow is worth more than $50 million to you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And then he's like, so are you doing things in your day that are worth $50 million? And in my head, I was like this. Because all of a sudden I was like, I act like my days are like worthless, you know? Like how many times do I just wake up and I just kind of do whatever? And then I heard that and I was like, wait, like I actually place a lot more value on one day than I ever thought I did, you know? And 2 days and 3 days. And then it just like kind of makes me think, okay, so how do I live a life that is that worth it to me? And it's interesting because I feel like that's what he wanted to talk about in this talk. He's like, oh, you want to live a worth it life? Like, you want to live a life that actually matters, investing in things that actually matter. Let me tell you what those actually are, you know? And then it's cool because I'm just like, you're right. Like, it is just relationships. And if I only have, like, if I just got the days that I'm given, and I don't even know how many days I'm given, it just makes me want to stop and be like, I better actually, like, choose to put the most important things in my days. Because obviously a single day is valuable, you know?
Yeah, when I was in college, I studied marriage and family, you know. And,
This is TJ's expertise here.
So,
y'all.
no, but man, one of my biggest takeaways was when it comes to relationships and in every different kind, like they don't happen on purpose. You know what I mean? Like amazing things in relationships don't happen on purpose. It always takes intention.
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway. Was that there's a ton of research out there. There's a ton of good books. And then obviously we have the scriptures and words of our church leaders. Like we need to put those to work.
Yeah.
Like, and because we won't. Like in high school, I did not approach relationships with purpose. It was always what is going to be easy, what is going to make me feel good or be popular or whatever. And I don't have great experiences to look back on.
Well,
in high school.
And it's even more interesting because even just when you said like, what's going to make me? Like, I feel like so many times I go into relationships and that's my thought.
Yep.
Oh, what's going to make me happy? What's going to make me fulfilled? What's going to make me like walk away from this thinking it was worth it? And I think that that's backwards, you know? Like if you actually want to have a successful relationship, I think it's instead of going in thinking about me in the relationship, it's thinking about them in the relationship. You know, like in your relationship with God, are you walking into that relationship? Are you saying like, okay, what can God do for me? Or are you thinking about God? You know, when you're like talking to your mom, are you going into that relationship saying, okay, what can my mom do for me that's going to be worth it for me to call her on the phone today? Or are you thinking about your mom? You know,
Which it's like, I wouldn't say that's the natural thing to do.
Oh,
I would say
my goodness, it's
naturally
not.
you like focus on yourself. And I think sometimes if we just follow like what's natural or what's easy, like we won't have super like rich or meaningful relationships, you know? But any good thing, like whether it's a sport, whether it's piano or magic tricks, you know, like it takes a lot of focus and intention, like TJ was talking about. Like it takes a lot of work to be good at those things. And I don't know why, like, we're like, man, I'm gonna go train in the gym for like hours and hours. You know what I mean? But we don't think like, man, I'm gonna work on my relationships. Like I'm gonna work on becoming like someone who's truly like just pro at relationships. But I'm like, after reading this talk, I just kept thinking, I'm like, what is a more valuable thing that I could work on becoming?
so then what does that look like? Like in your day to day, how do you choose to live a day that cares about relationships?
Hey, can I say something about this?
Yeah.
This is just like a warning. This
Oh,
is me
man.
throwing it down, okay? This is a warning for all the high schoolers out there, man, and just anybody. Man, because when you said that telling about the gym, that just hit me to the core. Because, man, when I was in high school, I was going to the gym like 3 times a day. I was going early morning, after school, and then sometimes at night. And I just remember
he was big,
and
y'all.
I was big, man. I was big. I think I was stronger in some lifts than I am right now.
Dang.
You know, like 10 years later. And gosh, old, man. Anyway, but dude, I put so much time into the gym. I put so much time into football, so much time into friends and just trying to have fun. And once I got out on my mission, I felt so much pain, man. I felt so much pain for the regret, all the things I missed out on with family and with close friends. And I vowed to myself, I just remember crying. Like I'm straight up like crying, like writing these letters, like, oh my gosh, I spent so much time on these things that were good. And some of them were, but they didn't matter most. What Elder Ballard is saying. And so this is my voice of warning, man. And listen, I'm not like, I don't know what everyone's situation is, but if we had you sitting here, I'll be like, man, is there something you could do to look at your life right now? How can you dedicate a little bit more time, be intentional with your parents, with your siblings, with your close friends?
So then what does it actually look like?
Well, okay, real fast, I'm gonna answer your question, but like with TJ, I think it's important to note, we're not saying it's bad to be great in other things. Like it's actually really good. Like you should strive to be great in a lot of things. What I think is important is like the order of things. And I think like this is the priority. Your relationship with God, with Christ, with your family, with your neighbor, with your friends. Like that is priority, right? So it's not bad to be great at other things, but you got to make sure the first thing comes first, you know? Okay, I have two thoughts for Grace's question of like, what does that look like in a day? Because I was like writing about this. And the first thing that I thought of is like, man, if you want to have good relationships, you got to learn to be present. And like, I've talked to so many teenagers about this, and I don't think this just applies to teenagers. Like this applies to young adults. This applies to like parents. Like you gotta be present. Like you gotta put your phone down. Like you gotta like stop worrying about what you're gonna be doing in an hour. You gotta stop worrying about the next thing, and you gotta be with the people that you're with. Like I actually don't think you can have a good relationship with people if you're not ever like fully present. And for me, this is like a little thing, but what it looks like is I go to dinner with friends and I leave my phone in the car. Like I don't even bring it in the restaurant because I know that I get distracted too easy. But I know that if I leave that in the car, all of a sudden I'm setting up like this time that I can really like deepen that relationship, you know?
Which is so interesting because I think so many people's first instinct, like even probably when you just said that, is to think, oh, like what if there's an emergency? Or like what if something happens? What if someone's trying to get a hold of me? And this could be a hot take, but I kind of just want to be like, so what?
You're not that important that you're the only person that they can call.
Emergency,
And
man.
I just want to be like,
gosh.
so what's 30 more minutes? Like, I just think that that's something that I've been thinking about so much. And I feel like it actually applies really well to this talk that I just want to be like, listen, we get so caught up in things that don't matter that we're actually missing the things that do.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even saying just like, I'm saying like little things. Like we get so caught up in our like math test tomorrow. Every mom is panicking right now that I'm telling your kids that they don't have to study for math, but it's fine.
Don't
like,
study
I just want to be
anymore.
like, your math test doesn't matter. No offense. Like it just like doesn't like the
Bro,
good.
get good grades, kids. Your math test matters, but priorities.
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, like it actually isn't that big of a deal. Like if you failed, you're gonna be fine. Like it's just so you know, it's not gonna be like it's not gonna ruin your life. Like all of these things, like I just want to be like, none of this actually matters. So just start focusing on things that matter. You know, just prioritize because in all reality, whatever text you were getting on your phone for that entire dinner, it's gonna be fine 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Well, and like what you're saying with like homework and stuff, it's like, man, you walk in the house and how many times do you walk right by your mom? She's like, hi, mom. And you just go and like, you actually didn't have any like connection there.
And
Where like what it could like will look like is like you stop and say, mom, I want to know how your day was.
yeah.
Like what happened in your day today? Tell me how you're feeling. Like, like, you know, your mom has like hard things too. You know what I mean?
And I don't think that you're doing that because you don't love your mom. I think you're doing that in your head because you're stressed about your math homework and you want to get it done.
It's like, it's
not
still going to be
because-
there 15 minutes later.
Yeah. And then I just want to be like, wait, you guys, like, it actually doesn't matter that much if you start your math homework 15 minutes late. You're going to be fine.
You're still gonna fail.
I'm just kidding. You ain't going to pass anyways. Ask Talon. He tried
I'm
to
just
fool.
joking. But I just want to share one little thing, and it goes with the parents. Is one thing that you could try to do is to get curious. Listen, our parents they're cool, man. Parents are interesting, and they have tons of experiences and things. I would say one thing is get curious and ask questions for your parents.
That is
Get
such a
curious,
good
man.
tip for relationships. Like if you want better relationships,
Yeah.
get
Get
I
curious.
was just going to say, that's not just for your parents. That is
is
literally
for everyone.
Because this
Yeah.
is what I was just thinking.
Those are the
How
people you want to
cool-
be around that are curious.
Yes.
Yep.
So cool. And also, how cool to be curious about God. How cool to be curious about the
That's
Spirit.
how you,
There
oh
it
man.
is.
These
Yeah.
same things apply to God. Like if you want to build a relationship with
100%.
God, be present. When you're reading your scriptures, you can't be thinking about a million other things.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be like bringing your phone
curious.
in.
Yeah,
I wonder.
get curious. Yeah.
I wonder. I did that in my
I'm not
seminary
kidding
class.
you. I genuinely think curiosity might be one of the things that I'm obsessed the most with right now. And so it's cool that you brought that
Dude,
up.
I've been thinking about it more and more.
It's insane. I am not kidding you. I don't think there's been a single thing that has elevated my life more in the last 6 months than curiosity. Like 100%. And this is why I actually really genuinely think that it could change every single one of your relationships. People will notice if you're curious.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so
I think
good.
that my favorite people and some of my favorite people in my life are the ones that are curious. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how's this go?
Spencer
What's going on with
Sorensen,
this? What-"
like literally the best example of that.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
everybody
gosh.
loves talking to that man
Yeah.
because of how genuinely curious he is about what you have to say.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then one little mini tip is hang out with your siblings outside of your house. The house
Cool.
is the place to fight. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like go do something that
It's
you
different
do.
when you go out.
Go do something that you would do with your friends, but with your sibling. Like go to a movie, go eat, go
Yeah.
do something that's other than just kicking it in the living room, which is cool too.
This is my last thought, and it's straight from the talk. he says following the promptings of the Spirit is one of the things that matter most in all our relationships. And I'm like, man, the person who gets relationships best is God. Like nobody can instruct us and teach us and show us the way better. And so for me, that is one of my biggest motivators of like, yeah, actually I'm going to cut some crap out of my life so that I can have the Spirit, so that the Spirit can teach me how to have better relationships. So the Spirit can like show me what I might need to change, what I might need to do different. And that's what it can do. You know, it can show you how to build like next level relationships.
Living in a world that's constantly changing. All of the lines are blurred between right and wrong. In the middle of the storm, a battle is waging, but I already know which side I'm on. I will fight for my King, 'cause he is fighting for me. I wanna be firm as a mountain, stretched to the sky, strong as a fortress, sure as the night. I wanna be straight as an arrow, deep as the sea. That's how he lived, so that's how I'll be. That's how he lived, so that's how I'll be.